All right, this is part two of a little quick series on why it is so difficult to learn to write or draw with your arm. Go ahead and watch part one if you haven't yet. It's in the description. But in part two, I want to get into, I want to give a little history about how how we tackled this problem in the past. Okay, so there was a time in America and other places in the world where everybody was learning to write with their arm. All right, and the reason they were learning to write with their arm is because, in the late 1800s, I'm talking about the late 1800s and early 1900s, we didn't have computers or typewriters. When things needed to be recorded in an office setting, in a business setting, they were done by hand. And that's meant a lot of people had to spend a lot of their day writing documents by hand or doing books, accounting books by hand. And if you're writing with your fingers all day, like we discussed in the last video, that was very tiring and it was very slow and it just wasn't good for business. So just like our education system today, it does its best to try to prepare students for the workplace. Back then they were doing the same thing. They wanted students to be able to write with their arms so they could write for long periods of time. They could write quickly and legibly and without pain, and that's what suited the business environment of the time because they didn't have those tools like computers and typewriters. Okay, so everybody was at least attempting to learn to write with their arm back then, and the way they did that is they spent a lot of time in school studying and practicing penmanship. Okay, and a lot of that was just arm movement exercises, they called them. They would do ovals across the page, up push pull drills up and down on the page, just all in the effort to develop the muscles and control of the arm muscles. Okay, they were trying to just develop that control of these arm muscles so that they could be used to manipulate the pen point in a very small and detailed way. Okay, and then besides just putting in the work to train and develop these muscles to control the pen, they were also realized that the movement of the hand and fingers could be combined with the movement of the arm to add control to the arm writing movement and the arm writing system. Okay, so the arm could be used to propel the big movements, and then the fingers could be used to control the smaller movements or kind of restrain or diminish the movements of the arm. Okay, and I'm not going to get into that right now, but that's also just another thing that they taught in their penmanship manuals. And really the professional penman, the best of the best penmen, these are the people that really combine these two, the finger movement and the arm movement, to a really high degree in a subtle, graceful way that allowed them to do absolutely amazing things with their pens. And I'll link to some artwork of some of those people so you can see what they were able to do with, big, art pieces that they would create with big gestural movements across the page, and then also at the same time, tiny little movements as well. And you see it in the script as well because, big capital letters require bigger movements, and then like small, tiny little lowercase letters would require more detailed, controlled movements. And that's when they would bring the fingers more into play. So those are the two strategies: of just kind of hard work, putting in the effort and the time, and then also developing that combination of both movements, which is a kind of a more advanced thing that is much more difficult to develop. So yeah, it's really, and back then they had the reason to develop the control of the arm. It was good for business. It was good for you financially if you were able to write well with your arm. Today we don't have that for the most part, so it's really up to you. It's really up to you what you want to do with your art, whether you're an artist that's drawing or painting or a calligrapher. You really got to ask yourself, is this something I really want to put the time into and learn? And if you do, then really the rest will take care of itself. It's just a matter of time before you develop the control in your arm. It's just something that's uncomfortable at first. There's a hump you have to get over. But after a certain amount of time, it'll feel quite natural to control the pencil, the pen with your arm, the paintbrush, whatever you're doing. So If you're interested in learning more, I think I'm going to actually do a third video on this where I get some paper and pencil out and show some arm movement exercises that you can do to start developing control with the pen using arm movement. And I think that'll be the great next step. That'll give you something you can do at home to actually start developing the control of arm movement, and then you can start incorporating it into your art, which will be really great. Add another dimension to your art. It'll add that sense of grace and freedom and movement into your work that you just can't do with finger writing. So thanks for watching. I'll link to part 1 here in the description if you haven't seen that, and I'll also link to the next part once I get that up, showing the exercises and things that I recommend you do. So thank you for watching. If you liked the video, give it a like. Please subscribe to the channel, and because I'll be posting more stuff about this and related topics. And of course, leave a comment or question in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. If you want to follow me on Instagram at Perfect Biscuits, you can see me writing with arm movement there. And you can contact me privately on at perfectbiscuits.com. I have a contact form there, or you can write me a letter. I'd love to see your handwriting, see your artwork. Send me whatever you want, and I will always respond back. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.